Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Frozen Fortunes. Now, you might be wondering why we're on the day of the Silkeborg game, considering in the last video I said we'd be playing it off camera. Well, and I'm very glad I did this. I actually waited until this morning to play any further fixtures because I was still a little bit unsure about how the end of the season would actually work. And thankfully, on the end of Thursday's video, a kind soul by the name of Christian Anderson, not Hans Christian by any chance, is it? Gave me some very valuable information which has prevented us from having an episode today where there would have been no games in it, essentially. Right, so here's how things work. Because we won the cup in the last video, if we were to get second in the league, which of course we still have to do today, then we'd play against Esbjerg in the playoff tie. However, because we're the cup winners, we would forfeit the tie and Esbjerg would automatically get a bye and we just kind of go on holiday a little bit earlier. Now, the reason I was very confused about this is because of Aalborg. Here's the end of last season's fixtures for Aalborg. Now, the reason I was so kind of happy that this happened for them is because they were in the relegation group last season, but they also won the cup. They beat FC Copenhagen in the final 3-1 after extra time. However, you might notice that they still played in the playoffs. So I was using that as a kind of guide, as saying, well, you know, if we win the cup, then we'll just do what Aalborg did. However, there is one tiny little thing that I'd completely forgotten in that I never really knew it, and it's kind of very important, but we'll know for future reference. And that is the fact that the Danish Cup is always played on, I think it's called Ascension Thursday or Holy Thursday in Denmark. I don't know whether that's a Scandinavian festival or not, or if it's an Easter thing. I'm not really familiar, but it's not always on the same day every year. It is always a Thursday. But their cup final basically was played after they'd already played the first round of their playoff ties. So obviously they weren't going to they got drawn into the playoffs because they hadn't won the cup at that point. But once they'd won the cup, they still played in the next round, which I found a little bit confusing. However, my guess is that they were already drawn into that game against Vela when they won the cup, and as a result, FM couldn't just pull them out of the tie. So they played the two-legged tie against Vela, but you might notice, even though they won, they didn't play in the final game, which I presume would be against someone like Nordsjælland. Now, also, Vela didn't get to play in the final game either, so my guess is because they won, they then gave the other team a bye, so to speak, even though it was a one-off game, so it meant the game never happened, and Aalborg, as a result, qualified for the Europa League anyway, so that's how it worked. So that's the thing I was missing, is the fact that our Europa League, when we won the cup, we hadn't played in the playoffs yet, which means that we just get a bye, or Esbjerg rather get a bye, and we don't have to play in them at all, if we can avoid getting into the relegation playoffs, which is something we really do need to avoid today. So we need to come out here and pick up at least a point away at Silkeborg. That's the plan for today's episode. Sorry for the long-winded explanation, but I think it was very important to explain why we are where we are. And you can all thank Christian in the comments for basically preventing us from having, because I would have played this game off camera otherwise, preventing us from having a last day of the season game, or episode rather, that didn't have any goddamn games in it. That would have been a bit awkward. I don't know what we'd have done for 20 minutes. So what we're going to probably do today is we're going to play the game and hopefully we can pick up at least a point. And I mean, it doesn't even matter because if Kurga still have to go and win away at Sunniusk, so it's going to be difficult for them, but we still can't afford to be complacent. So I'm probably going to play the same team that just played in the cup final, or maybe start Svenningsson instead of Zahidi, just to give him a chance to redeem himself today, to be honest. And in theory, providing we can hopefully avoid getting dragged into the relegation playoffs, we can do some sort of end-of-season stuff, because in theory, that should be the final game of the season, and we'll get our payouts, and we can have a look at finances and stuff like that. Maybe we can even ask the board to go pro. I mean, I don't think they're going to say yes, but we can give it a crack anyway. I honestly think that to turn professional in this league, we're just going to have to I'm going to keep asking it every opportunity I get. Every time we get a bit of money, I'm going to ask them. But I honestly think it's just going to be one of those things where the board just decide to do it themselves. Maybe the fact that we've qualified for the Europa League might force their hand a little bit more than it would have done otherwise, but I'm still not really sure. I wasn't really prepared for this season to pan out the way that it did. So, lineup's pretty much the same as the last episode, although I do want to bring out Svenningsson and maybe even try out Jonathan Dosanya here today as well. Try Svenningsson and Dosanya in these games. Get Gardiner and Zahidi off the bench. I do worry about Steven Gardiner for next season because I feel like other players are improving around him and he is improving, but I feel like his talent ceiling is already starting to come closer and closer. His potential is actually now only 4 stars, which means that he's getting closer and closer to maxing it out, really. He's got there very quickly, but I do think there's going to come a time and a place where maybe over the summer, he might start to be one of the players that are phased out. Bravo's doing well. Svenningsson's still improving. And I feel like if there's any spot up for grab next year, it could well be Steven Gardiner's one. Because the second half of the season, he's not been the player that he was in that first half where he was just banging them in, unfortunately. On the bench, Garcia, Pat Curtin, of course, the American who has now signed a contract, by the way, Yusuf Traore, Gardiner, Basquez, Fucha, and Ivan Peric. Now, is there Zahidi Would I rather have Zahidi on the bench? I think I would. I'd very much rather have Zahidi on the bench than Future, because guy's got goals. He pretty much... well, no, he wasn't man of the match. Actually, Gardiner was in the cup final, to be fair to Stevie G. But I feel like a rest today and a chance to try out Jonathan Dos Santos is worth trying out. I know there's a lot on the line in this game, but I still feel like it's worth us doing this. Right, Ustenshai's a little bit on the knackered side, it would seem already. They're central mid. So maybe tackle him a little bit harder, you know, because we're mean like that. We're going to do the old type markings. This seemed to work in, I think it was actually in the final, against these sort of teams that play like this. So we might as well give it a crack today. I'm not too worried about Silkeborg. If anything, I think, you know, sometimes you can worry too much about what the other teams are doing and not worry enough about what you're doing yourselves. I take it he's on a suspension soon. Not that it would matter anyway. Well, I suppose it would if they... Actually, it could matter to them. Not so much to us, in theory. Right. Okay, the players reacted not at all, basically, which is good. So that's all. Basically, both games are being played at the same time today, so keep an eye on that top corner because things could start to get a little bit dicey. I really, really hope we can pull... I think we're in a good position. Kyrgyz have to go away and win at the team top of our group, and we have to only get a point against the team that are bottom. I think... there's a lot of ways that we can get through this. I'd like to think that we can just go and win, though. Do our job perfectly. That's the plan, anyway. Right, so, question of the day. And today's question is this. Favourite players who play for rival clubs. Now, I'm guessing you mean, like, local rivals, I suppose. So, for me, that's, like, QPR, Brentford. I guess you can call it Chelsea because they are still local. Honestly, my favourite Chelsea player is Willian. That man... holy crap. Even when Chelsea were bad a couple of years ago, Willian was just an absolute king for them. I loved watching him play. Even more so than someone like Eden Hazard. Godsway, Oakles, Skeetler, long range striking Cassidy makes the save. For Brentford, maybe someone like Harley Dean. I like Harley Dean, and QPR probably Alex Smithies. He was great against us, not this season I think, but last year. Oakles out wide for Skov. So yeah, those two. Let me know what players you'd have for your team off of your local rivals, I suppose. Headed away by Lubicic. Good work at the back post there. And if you have any ideas for a question of the day, drop those in the comments too with the hashtag QOTD. Their long range strikes from the early part of this game is totally fine. Oh, the space. Bravo. Looks long for Svenningsson. Oh, he could have found a better pass there. He maybe could have gone through the middle. Oh, dear. Godsway's all the way through. This has got to be a goal. And he's missed. He took that round our goalkeeper, basically, and then chose to miss. We've been let off the hook massively with that, I've got to say. Not started too well. We had some opportunities early on to get some good passes. It just hasn't happened, but we are still in a good position, and that's the main thing. The other game is obviously still 0-0 as well. Oh, God, I thought that was going to be one of those beautiful bits of high press. Ustenshare now appears to be, although he might have already been carrying that knock. Godsway, Skov. Godsway is such an important player for them. Ustenshare, Godsway. Easy stuff. Silkeborg have started this game like they really have nothing to play for at the moment, really. They're just waiting for the relegation playoffs to start, I guess. Trying to practice up. Moskutsa. Oh, good God. Okay, guys, you've got to be better than this. We have not started this game well, but we have at least avoided going behind early on, which is something that has plagued us at times this season. Godsway again. I mean, are we still carrying a bit of knackeredness from the cup final? Perhaps. It's fairly likely. The game was in the middle of the week, and this game is on a Sunday, I think. So, Ustenshire, up for Svenningsson. Go on, Svenny. He's sort of... No, he hasn't. My God, they just want it more, I think, at the moment. Skeetler. We're getting tackles in, but the ball is just ricocheting back to them every single time. It's incredible. Oh, that's offside, I think. I'm pretty certain that is offside. Yeah, phew. Bit fortunate there, but they've started so well in this game. Oh, good God. Kyrgyz are winning away at Sunayuska. Please don't do this, guys. We're in a perfect position to not have to just end the season now and enjoy our holiday, knowing we're the cup winners. Please don't make us have to play in something else. Bravo, round the corner, please! What the hell? Honestly not sure what to do at this point. They're playing really well, getting a lot of opportunities, and we are offering nothing going forward in this match. Perhaps a slight hangover from the cup final, but we don't really have time to do that right now. There's no time for the hangover. If we could just get to half-time, we can reassess a little bit, and we're going to need to at the moment because they are playing like a team that don't have 23 points on the board. Rogers Jr. gets across there and makes the block. But this is just a pummeling so far. And again, it's just every chance is coming through them. Right, we've got to do something at half-time. This is getting silly now. Oh, good God. It's just deflecting, and we have to get to half-time at 0-0. I just don't know where we're going to go from there, but... Right, here... Jonas Svenningsson just standing around doing nothing up front. I don't know what's happened to him, particularly. He's really gone off the boil towards the end of this season. Skeeter. Skov, look at the space. Tailborough. Get out there, make a tackle. Ball in, win that header. Look at the space at the back post. Look at the space at the back post. Over the bar again. This has just been an onslaught from them. We've got to do better. And, well, I mean, it's been coming, frankly. I don't know what is going on in this game. Bear in mind, we've just beaten a team better than this lot in the cup final. And you come out and play like this. Just dreadful. Godsway, who's being marked and everything, with 3 central defenders to mark 1 man, and it's... wow. Wow. Oh, also, at the moment, we're actually going to end up playing in a goddamn relegation playoff, by the way. Come on, pull your bloody fingers out. This is ridiculous. Right. Okay, we're keeping their amount of cross-completion down, which is fine, but we've created nothing in this match at all. What do we do? I mean, we can't get any worse, so there is that as a bonus. There's nowhere to go but up from here, in theory. I'm going to pull off Svenningsson and get Zahidi on straight away. And I'm also, even though Dosania's played all right, I'm going to pull him off as well and get Gardiner on. I'm aware I'm saying pull them off, which is a little bit odd, but because they've just played shocking. I know Bravo's done badly too, but that is just dreadful. What do we do in the second half of this match? Do we try closing down less? Up the tempo a tiny little bit? Get stuck in a little bit more? I honestly don't know. It's hard to know because we've created nothing, so anything we do surely could be an improvement. Maybe just yelling at them will help. Let's have this in the second half. It can't get any worse than where it is right now. All we need is 1 goal. Just equalise here. Get a crappy equaliser in this match. It won't make too much of a difference. And, but we've got to do better than the first half. It is just inevitable that we have to do better than that. I don't understand what's happened either. This is the same tactic we played against them when they're playing the same tactic as well that we beat them in our last match against them. I think they're just knackered from the cup final. That's certainly what it feels like. We could do a SecondYellowCard pulling their finger out as well and doing us a favour. Ustenshire, we might have to go to that, bring another player into the midfield kind of situation again. I don't like doing it really, but sometimes it just has to be done. Could our player maybe get back on side anytime soon? Just casually jogging back, even though he's only just come onto the pitch. Looking long. 1 by Nicky Rowland. And 1 by Bravo. Good stuff. That's more like it. A bit more intensity about our game. Gardiner. Looking long again. Rowland should just be able to bring this down. Drop it off. There we go. Ljubicic. Much more like it. Bravo. Oh, this is so much better now. So much better. Moskutsa. Ball in. Gardiner 1-1. And where was this in the first half of the match? The intensity. It was just completely missing from that first period of the game. I can't believe it's all down to the 2 strikers that we brought on at half-time. Bravo's been excellent. Zahidi, to be fair, does do brilliantly here. Great first-time ball from Moskutsa. And Stephen Gardiner digs us out of trouble at the moment anyway. It's still on the ropes a little bit, but we have had our first shot of the game and it is in the back of the net. Let's see if we can keep pushing here, get ourselves in front and just turn this into... make that first half not matter quite as much. Right, go on, get a tackle in. Here we go. That's so much better. Zahidi, Bravo, Gardiner's in. Sort of. He's... actually, no, he is just... oh! Flashes 1 wide and suddenly we're like a different team in this second period. And SecondYellowCard have equalised against Kurgan. So now there would need to be a 2-goal swing for us. Thank God. I was starting to get very, very worried for a second there. We've not played well at all today, really. Second half has been slightly better, but at least we seem to have picked things up a tiny little bit now, at least. Bravo. Through for Stephen Gardner. Through again. Oh, good chance for Stevie G. Another one, actually. He's played pretty well since he's come on, to be fair to him. Maybe trying to justify what I said earlier and tell me how wrong I am. Ball in. And Hoiberg with the save, right? Another substitution probably for the best now. Who's playing poorly? Kowalczyk. And Kurgan are back in front. This is glorious. Ljubicic is having a dreadful time. So maybe we will try out Pat Curtin. Give him a little run out in this game. Just need to hang on and not lose this match, basically. That's all we need to do. But unfortunately, we never really know what to do when we're defending positions. We prefer to just... the best form of defence is attack type of situation, really. That seems to be what's worked for us recently. They've not really offered much in this second period so far, and SecondYellowCard have equalised again. Okay, that should be enough, but again, we can't take anything for granted at this point. I'm actually impressed with how good a chances we've created with so few shots in this game. We've only had 3 shots in the entire game, and so many of them have actually been good chances. Rogers Jr. is all the way through. Save Moskutsa, and it's 2-1 to B67. We've created some good chances in this second half. The players have really stepped up when I yelled at them. The assistant manager actually at halftime, after I gave the talk, said that the players were ready to walk through walls, whatever that means. This was supposed to be for Gardner, but Rogers Jr. getting in there and very nearly scoring a goal. But Fabian Moskutsa on the other side makes it 2-1 B67. And in theory now, that should be us safe as houses, and going to enjoy a nice summer holiday. I think, unless the game decides to throw up some more nonsense. We've created some good opportunities in that second half. I think it's a bit harsh on Silkeborg in a way, because they played really well in that first half, but just didn't take their chances. Looking long. Bravo probably won't get there, though. But Gardiner will. Drop it off. It's not a good ball. Could have done with a better run being made from Zahidi there, really. Space in the middle. Look at the space over the other side. Bursting. Rogers Jr. does well. Zahidi, right, runners making all sorts of runs now. Bravo. Looking long for Gardiner. He's found the pass, you know. And Zahidi's in at the back post, and it's now 3-1. What a second half performance this is. I tell you what, sometimes halftime team talks really do work, or it was bringing on Gardiner and Zahidi. They really have changed the game. Svenningsson he would just look like the Walking Dead up front. It was crazy. Good ball to the back post. Zahidi does the job, and it's 3-1. Game, set, and match in theory now. And also, summer holiday time. Oh, surely there's not more goals in this game for us. But they've certainly reacted from the first half nonsense, I've got to say. Gardiner in again. Can he pull it back across for someone? He might. Bravo! It's 4-1! My goodness. Okay, guys. Calm it down a bit now. This is getting a little bit unfair on Silkeborg. Oh, right. Okay, so we obviously do still have it in us. What a second half performance this has been. To create 3 clear-cut chances and 4 half chances from 7 shots. Every single shot we've had in this game has resulted in an actual good shot. What a strike. Whoa, the net has gone to a different dimension. It's 4-1 to B67, and this is the perfect way to finish the season off, actually. Really sort of asserting some dominance in this game. It's just really satisfying, to be honest. Castaneda up for Bravo. Not quite there this time. Go on, let's keep it at 4-1. It's not... Oh, hello. Surely not. Back post, surely. You can do it, you know. Bravo! Oh! Mariano Bravo could have made that 5. Wow. What a second half performance. I'm ecstatic with this. Why couldn't we play like this for the entire game? This is so good from us. Tailborough. And cleared away. Well done, guys. This is some performance. I'm really pleased with that. They've done me proud in that second half. 4-1 win to save ourselves from any kind of ignominious problems. And there we have it. Silkeborg 1, B67 4. Gardiner, Moscusa, Zahidi and Bravo with the goals. And yeah, I think on the balance of actual chances created, I think we deserve the win. Gardiner, man of the match in the end. It's given me a lot to think about. That's what I would say. That is what I would say. And it doesn't matter because the other game resulted in a 2-2 draw anyway. So yeah, that is incredibly good. Lovely old job. I think that's the end. We've been given that. Gardiner's on form, that's fine. We've been given some money, so that's helping the finances out. We're over £1 million in the bank at the moment, which is beautiful. I presume this will still say, oh no, hey, in 2 years' time we'll have 76k in the bank, apparently. I assume that's because the wage bill will go down by that point. I do want to check, though, to make sure there's no more games that we've got here. So, presumably, that will automatically have done the draw now for the next round. European playoff first round. This round will be drawn on the 12th. It is the 12th. European places first round. Brøndby versus Sønderjyske. Yeah, so I'm pretty certain that means that Esbjerg do get a bye into the next round. So that's fine. That means our season is done now. Beautiful. Saved us a lot of hassle. Now, one thing I do want to try, since we've got £1.2 million in the bank, and the best time to... Oh, we've got a new stadium soon. Best time to ask the board about this sort of stuff is when you've got money in the bank. Can we go professional? Networking... Oh, wait, no, it's not. It's on finance, isn't it? Professional status. It's there as an option. Fitness levels... That's my main reasoning behind it. To be perfectly honest. Can still achieve fame as a semi-professional side. People love rooting for the underdog. Yes, people love rooting for the underdog, but that doesn't mean you have to be the underdog if there is an opportunity to not be the underdog. Go on, let's see if we can try some of these. Sometimes it works. We believe the club can make that sort of progress without having to turn professional. I'm basically going to click every single one except for the one that says I'll be unable to carry on with my job. That's essentially... Wait. Oh, yes! Okay, yes, hang on. I think that's what it means. Although we wouldn't normally respond to such a laboured point, your passion on this issue isn't going unnoticed. After considering what you said, we've decided to grant your request. I think... Yes! I'm very pleased to announce that the club can turn professional are in place. We hope to officially announce this on the 5th of July. Ooh, okay. But that's not when you turn pro, though, is it? That's when they announce it. I'm fairly certain that's not what it means. Doesn't that mean that they then announce it and then it's like another year? I mean, it could be worse. At least we're in theory going to be going professional, but I don't think it's going to be this summer. I think it'll be probably the next summer. So we will have to play another season in the top flight, most likely, as a semi-pro team. Now, the thing is, this actually happened with me when we were turned semi-pro last time as well, I believe. Or it must have been, was that on another side? I don't know. Point is, I think what happened last time was that I asked the board and they said, let's go, we're going to turn pro. But then after a certain point, they just did it anyway. And it was earlier than the time that they told me. So it might be when the game flips over into the new season or something. I don't know. We'll have to see, because it could still happen. But I don't think it will this time. I think that with all the money that's involved in turning from semi-pro to pro, it might be that we do have to wait another season. But I don't really mind. So what I would say, since we know it's going to happen at some point, since we'll be able to use the new scouting system properly, if you guys have got any tips on how to actually use the new scouting system, do let me know in the comments to this video. I'll be very, very interested to read them. And I don't mean like scout this nation. I mean like how to actually use the new scouting system properly. Little tricks you might have picked up, just let me know, because I've never really had much experience with it. Yeah, here endeth our season with a 4-1 win, and a pretty convincing one in the end, although it did come from a slightly more difficult position. We actually did all right in our last few games in that league, apart from the one against Kurga, but we did rest a lot of players. We've won the cup. We're going to be playing Europa League football next year. I don't know what round we go into, and I don't know when that will be, so whether there'll be league games first or Europa League, but make no mistake, the Europa League games will have priority over league matches because it's a new and interesting thing. So which will obviously have a two-legged tie against someone, both those games will be the live comment in that episode, and any other league games that come in between will be happening off camera, just because I feel like it's important to concentrate on the bigger thing, because at some point we are going to probably end up playing in the Champions League if we keep getting better and better, and when that happens, I want to concentrate on those fixtures above all else, because otherwise it can get a bit boring, because by that point we might have to be winning the league every single season, and you know what I mean. I feel like it's important to concentrate on the things that are new. That way it keeps things interesting. Anyway, if you have enjoyed this season, the fact that we're going to be going pro at some point, do drop a like on the video. Don't worry, there will be an analysis video tomorrow. I've got some new screens I found that we can take a look at with that as well. Then drop a like on the video. That'd be really, really cool. And if you want to subscribe for more videos like this in your inbox at the start of Season 8, which will be on Tuesday, I think, then do that as well. And I will see you guys in the next episode for, I assume it will be our first league game of the season, maybe, because our league starts quite early, but it could well be a double-header Europa League tie. And all sorts of stuff could happen over the summer. For all we know, we could be pro, we might not be. There's so much stuff that could happen. So tune in next time and find out what the hell's been going on in B67. Something is rotten in the state of Denmark. Anyway, I'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.